You didn't decide to do it. You were standing in a queue or waiting for the kettle, and somewhere in that 2-second gap, your hand was already moving. The phone was out. The screen was on. And you weren't even sure what you were looking for. You've probably tried to stop. More willpower, app timers, leaving it in another room. And it sort of works until it doesn't. Here's the thing nobody tells you. The reason this is so hard has almost nothing to do with willpower. You're up against one of the most powerful behavioral mechanisms ever discovered, and it was reverse engineered decades ago from a pigeon. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why your phone feels magnetic, why the same mechanism runs every slot machine in Las Vegas, and why the fix isn't trying harder. It's changing one specific thing about how the reward arrives. Let's open up the machine. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner was studying how rewards shape behavior, using animals in a box with a lever. Press the lever, get a pellet of food. Simple. The animal quickly learns. Lever means food. But Skinner found something strange when he changed the rules. If he rewarded every press, the animal would press calmly, and the moment the food stopped, it gave up almost immediately. Predictable reward, predictable quitting. Then he tried something else. Instead of rewarding every press, he rewarded a random one. Maybe the 3rd press, maybe the 20th. You could never tell which. And this is where it gets interesting. Because under those rules, the pressing went absolutely manic. Skinner had found what we now call a variable ratio schedule. Reward that comes on an unpredictable schedule produces the most persistent behavior we know how to create. Not the biggest reward, the most unpredictable one. Now here's the counterintuitive part. The pull isn't really about the reward. It's about the uncertainty before it. When neuroscientists watch dopamine in the brain, they expected it to spike when the reward arrived. It does. A little. But the bigger response happens in the anticipation. The moment of maybe. Dopamine, it turns out, isn't really the chemical of pleasure. It's the chemical of something good might be about to happen. So look at what you're holding. You pull down to refresh. Sometimes there's something good. Often there's nothing. You cannot predict which. That is a variable ratio schedule sitting in your hand, and your thumb is the lever. The boredom in the queue is the trigger. The pull is the lever. The unpredictable payoff is the schedule. And every notification badge, every infinite scroll was designed, sometimes very deliberately, to keep that maybe alive as long as possible. Now you can see why just have more discipline is bad advice. Discipline is slow, the calm, effortful, rational part of you. And slow is expensive. It tires. It gets distracted. It can't be on guard every second. Fast, the automatic, instant part of you, doesn't get tired. It only needs you off guard for 1 second, in one cue, and the hand moves. You're asking your most expensive, easily exhausted system to win a battle of attrition against your cheapest, most tireless one, hundreds of times a day. You will not win that on willpower. Nobody does. So here's the shift. Stop trying to beat the schedule with discipline. Break the schedule itself. The whole spell depends on unpredictability, on maybe. So take the maybe away. Turn off badge notifications, and the reward stops ambushing you and becomes something you choose to check on purpose. Move the rewarding apps off your home screen so the lever isn't under your thumb the instant the phone wakes. Some people set their screen to grayscale, which sounds absurd until you realize color is part of the payout. None of these are about being stronger. They're about making the reward predictable. And a predictable reward, as one pigeon proved 70 years ago, is a reward you can easily walk away from. You're not weak. You're running into the single most effective reinforcement schedule we've ever found, engineered to fit in your pocket. The good news is the same predictability that makes it powerful is exactly what switches it off. But there's a deeper question under all this. Why does your brain crave the maybe so much? Why is the unknown so much louder than the known? Next time, why one insult can outweigh 10 compliments.